I don't know, this is the background that I would have wanted. But you know what? We'll take it. I don't know, but I feel like it's only fitting that for my first YouTube video, I have to start with the heel toe. Because if you know me, I do this everywhere I go. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's definitely harder on the grass. For instance, like my mom is over there, but I'm over here. Yes, papito, yes. You're gonna be part of my first YouTube video as well. It's only fitting. It's only fitting. All right, come on. Come on. This has been something I've been trying to do for so long, but fear after fear and convincing myself that I don't need to, that it's going to be too much work, and all the excuses as to why I shouldn't start a YouTube channel just kept on filling in my head. But you know what? I really wanted to start my YouTube channel before I turned 30. 30 is very close, you guys. Like if 30 is right here, I'm right here with it. Like we have a small little gap. As y'all can see, this is not my normal background. I'm actually filming this in Ohio right now, in my mom's house. I meant to have recorded this video before I got here, but things happen. But you know what doesn't change? The plan. So we're recording it from here. But I will say I'm a little nervous. Like, oh, I don't know. We're going to do it regardless, and we're going to do it scared. And through the process, we're going to get better. Let's get into this workout. Because I only have pretty much a jump rope and my body, we're going to do a body weight workout. In between my workout, I'm going to be answering some questions, talking about me, and sharing a little bit of my story. So I have not worked out in a few days. Get itchy when I don't work out. So let's get into it. Got to do it a little bit. It's a little bit more difficult on the grass, but once you find your flow, as I mess up, once you find your flow, I think you have to be more intentional because you have to like do higher jumps. Whew. Jumping rope is one of my favorite forms of cardio. I'm already tired. Man, oh man, my story. Honestly, I feel like my fitness journey or my health journey started way before I actually started working out. In some way, shape, or form, I was always insecure about my body, whether it was in like high school, college, some way, shape, or form. So I remember in college trying to work out, trying to move my body more. I also think I used to overcompensate with my body because I had a natural, nice body, but I had really bad skin. And so this is also why I see that I don't wear that much makeup because I've just learned to embrace my skin. Even when I'm breaking out, I'll have days where, you know, I'm still just a girl. So I do love my makeup regardless, but to like work out and things like that on my regular day-to-day, mostly on my videos and my story, I don't wear that much makeup because I have just learned to love and embrace my face. But in some way, shape, or form, I think I was very self-conscious about myself. It led me to do things to like either like fit in or try to just like be in the crowd or overly focus on the fact that I had a nice body and use that to my advantage. I think being small relatively my whole life, because I also feel like I had body dysmorphia. It's not like I was ever big, ever. So I was small my entire life pretty much. And after college, I was in a relationship and our forms of communication weren't the greatest to each other. I don't know why this makes me so nervous. Look, oh my gosh. And this is why I was going to do it while working out because I feel like I can calm my nerves while working out. So I'm going to take my first push-up break because we're doing kind of like a full body workout. So let me get into some push-ups and then I'll get back into it. All right. Shake out the nerves. But I think in some way, shape, or form, I was always a little self-conscious about my body. I always feel like I had some type of body dysmorphia. Post-college, I was in a relationship now at this point for like 3-4 years, I want to say. And I started to, you know, gain a little weight. And at the time, my partner was very fit. He really prioritized, you know, living a healthy lifestyle. So there were some comments made that I don't want to believe were like trying to be rude or mean, but they came off very judgmental about pointing out cellulite that I was growing, like just comments about needing to stay attractive to me if I'm gaining weight and things in that sort. And so after a few of those comments, I've kind of internalized it even more, because I was already kind of like getting insecure about the one thing kind of used to use to my advantage. And so I decided to go on my first fitness journey. I graduated college in 2017. I gained about like 20 pounds from May that I graduated until January that next year when I started. So I want to say like in about like 6-7 months. After those comments, I went on to my first fitness journey, and it was like, honestly, you guys, more because I wanted to stay attracted to my partner. I can't really sit here and say that it was because I had this strong desire to want to lose weight. I know I didn't like the weight that I was gaining, but it's not like I had my own personal desire to want to lose it. I also didn't really think it was that serious until it was getting pointed out. And looking back at it, it really wasn't that bad, but I guess in comparison to me, 20 pounds, whatever. Fast forward, I ended up getting on this fitness journey, and I did lose a good amount. So I went from originally like 126 or like 125-ish to 145. And then I went back down to 132, and I maintained that for a little while. Now, again, I started this journey because I was trying to please my partner. Fast forward, I ended up going back to grad school to get my master's in social work, because my ultimate goal was to always be a therapist. I ended up going to grad school a year after graduating. When I went back to school, I quit my job. I focused solely on school, and grad school was tough, That thing was tough. And I started using the excuse that I didn't have as much time, so I wasn't working out as frequently, but I was still trying to maintain it as much because, again, I still had like the drive of my partner wanted to stay attracted to me. And on that, we'll go on a commercial break. Man, you go out of breath. I just had a deep jump rope session. Let's take a second. Ding. All right. So I ended up losing weight. I wasn't really learning much. I found this program online that I paid like $30 for, and it gave me like a program to follow, and so I just followed it. I changed my nutrition habits based on kind of like what I knew, so stop eating so much processed food. I added more fruits and veggies into like my meals. I didn't necessarily cut anything out, but I started eating like more whole wheat, meal prepping more, so just not eating out as much, and through that I was able to lose about 13-14 pounds, and I was actually feeling good. I kept it up until I was in grad school. And then when I was in grad school, I started having the excuse to not want to work out as much because I was busy. But I was still with my partner at the time. So I still had the same drive of wanting to take care of my health for the sake of my relationship. Now we fast forward to about a year and a half later, we ended up breaking up. And when we broke up, I was already being inconsistent, but trying to maintain as much as possible. It was 2019 at this point. I was in my second year of grad school. And so like I kind of completely fell off. I honestly spiraled a little bit. I started drinking a lot more. Then I started being less consistent, and I stopped caring about what I was eating because the drive never came from me. So when me and him broke up, my desire to want to work out left with him. Y'all get it? So 2020 comes. Now, right now, I'm doing this for a couple of months. I'm out here wilding. I'm in these streets. I won't lie to you guys. Not in that way, but I'm out like drinking and staying out, not caring about what I'm consuming, not working out, like partying a little bit more or a lot more. Like I was outside, you guys. I was drinking like a gallon of Henny between one of my best friends, just me and her. Like I was drinking, and that was just a Tuesday night. So I gained a lot of weight. And I mean, when I gained weight the first time, I made it to 145. Now at this point, I was reaching the 150s. Now the pandemic hit, and man, I was like already before the pandemic, I was like 156, 157. After the pandemic, I went all the way up to 162, which was the biggest I've ever gotten. Yeah, I'm 5 feet. That's a lot for me. This time, like throughout that whole year, I was feeling very self-conscious. Like I kept on looking at myself in the mirror, feeling bad for myself. Like look at all the weight, but I just didn't have the desire to want to make a change. Over that summer, I was like a walking accident. So first I hurt my ankle off of playing double dutch in the street. The second time, like a month and a half later, I ended up dislocating my shoulder by just literally jumping in the water. I jumped in the water, and when I landed in the water, I felt pressure in my arm, so I came back up, or not even, because I was in the deep end. I had to swim to the part that was more shallow so that I can be able to actually get out. And so I was swimming with a dislocated shoulder, and I didn't even realize. I just felt that there was pressure. And then when I got out, I felt like my whole arm drop, and like my shoulder really came out the socket. It was a whole big thing. I had to go to urgent care, then to the hospital because they couldn't help me at urgent care. And I ended up tearing something in my shoulder. And after that, I realized, I'm like, yo, my body's actually very weak. Like, I lost a lot of muscle. Like, these two freak accidents that happened back to back. So that was like my first big, like, I'm taking my health for granted and I need to actually go back to strength training and taking care of myself, because there's no reason I'm breaking my body like this. But then a month later, I ended up going on my Jamaica trip, which I often reference as one of the turning points in my health. Going through that trip itself, seeing the pictures and seeing the way I looked and how I felt in certain clothes, that was like the turning point to my fitness journey. That's when I realized how much weight I gained, and I was like, nah, I need to make a change. Like, this is actually not okay. I was so uncomfortable. I was not happy in my bathing suits. I was not happy in my clothes. And I just kept on faking it. But I was like, what am I faking this for if I really don't like the way I feel? And so that was the starting point to my actual change that I didn't even know was about to be the actual start to my purpose in life, direction that I was actually supposed to take. So, all right, the food is here. So I'm going to finish the rest of my workout. So I just finished eating and now I'm upstairs about in my fake corner of an office. I be freezing all the time, so I always need a blanket. But I'm about to take a call with a potential client, and I love meeting with someone new because if I do end up start working with them, it like lights a fire in my own butt to like go harder or to become a better coach or to do better myself, because I'm like, I have to lead people, like. So all right, so I wish I would have showed you before I did this, but I just peeled my first pineapple for the first time. I know. And then I used a juicer for the first time. Don't mind our Coke bottle, but we put it in a Coke bottle. So this has 2 pineapples, like 3 or 4 apples, lemon, ginger, cucumbers, and now we have like the the end of the puree that came out from the juicer, and we're about to put it through the juicer again so we can get the last little bit of juice out. I'm learning a lot. I've never used this before. But I'll come back for the rest of the story time in a second. Let's take a look to see what's going on back there. One of them are there. This is, yes. He's still in the same position. And we are back outside. So now, the start of my journey. I feel like it took so many intermissions to get here, but I started documenting my fitness journey for whatever the reason was. Really, mainly because I'm a bird and I just like this to post on social media. I started documenting my entire journey, but this time I wasn't just trying to lose weight. Like, I was trying to get strong. I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to like learn how to eat better so that it was sustainable. I was drinking more water, focusing on my protein intake, doing more research on food, working on my mindset and understanding that my mind gives up before my body does. So I was just like, I was really pushing my limits, and I really started to fall in love with the process. And I decided to post everything on social media. ¿Por qué? Yo ni sé. I have no idea. I don't know who I thought I was before I was who I am now. I don't know who I thought I was, but I was posting everything on social media and I was motivating so many people. At this point, I had already graduated. I was a full-time therapist. I was working specifically with domestic violence, children in domestic violence. It was very demanding, emotionally demanding. And so I was also using it as just a way to make sure that I'm taking care of myself as best as possible so that I can show up for work. Through documenting my process, I ended up inspiring so many people, and people were asking me so many questions and I didn't feel qualified to answer questions. I was like, I kind of enjoy helping people in this capacity, so I was like, I'm gonna get my personal training certification. Started my personal training certification in July of 2021, but I didn't actually complete it until July 2022 because I was just being lazy, to be honest. I had a full-time job. I was already kind of teaching like little classes here and there just online or doing like group stuff, but I just didn't have the capacity or the time. Like, and I was already learning a lot through my own research. So it just kind of felt like another thing, but still I wanted to make sure that I was doing things more qualified. So I ended up finally getting my certification, and then, oh baby, things went up from there. So I did personal training officially for like about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. But in the midst of that, at this point, I was working with older adults, with teenagers, and I started realizing just how important my teenagers and my adults needed to move. So I was trying to get them to move so much. Like anytime they would tell me they were feeling anxious or depressed, I'm like, but only if you walked more. Or, I want you to understand how food plays a role in your depression or your anxiety or the things that we're experiencing, your influence, your environment, like all these things. Where I was a very holistic therapist. And so the same thing went with my personal training clients. Like I wanted to help them make a change, but I knew that change does not happen from just showing up in the gym and eating some foods. Like anybody can follow a plan. It's very hard to transform your life, and that comes from transforming the way that we think, our decision making. I started getting really invested in trying to understand why people behave the way that they do. Hello, why I went into therapy, because I know that it has to do with the brain and the mind, and our decision making, the way that we show up, comes from the things that we feel, the way that we think. So I knew if you wanted to change your life fitness wise, and I had already just went through my own transformation, it starts with the way that we think and the way that we feel and the way that we show up. So I started trying to understand more and more. Why would somebody want to lose weight but take all the action that doesn't align with those goals? And so I started applying my therapy skills into fitness, and I'm like, I don't have enough time to teach this to my personal training clients because all we're here to do is to work out. But I would try to catch myself like telling them little tricks and tips here about you need to work on your mindset. You need to change this because if you want this to be a lifestyle, this is where it actually stems from. And so I started feeling unfulfilled in both, because I wanted my therapy clients to understand the importance of movement and nutrition as it pertains to their mental health. And I wanted my personal training clients specifically to understand the importance of really shifting the way that they feel about themselves, shifting the way that they think, their decision making, the way they feel about fitness, the way that they show up in the world, healing themselves within so that it can actually reflect in a fitness journey. And realizing that physical and mental health goes so hand in hand, it's not even funny. And so I felt unfulfilled in both, because I was like, I'm half-assing it. I'm half-assing both of them. And I did not like that. I didn't like it. So I was like, what can I cook up where I want people to be self-sustainable? So I want people to be able to work out on their own and get to the place where they're confident enough that they're working out on their own. I want people to make better decisions with nutrition, and not by me giving them a meal plan, because you could follow a meal plan while you're working with someone, but then as soon as you're not working with them and you don't have that meal plan, you don't know what to eat. And what good does that do? So I'm like, how do I help people just learn how to eat? But then how do I also help people understand that they can eat what they want with moderation and just choosing healthier options, and it doesn't have to be that complicated, but then also enjoying their culture. And then I had to remember that people still feel guilty eating chocolate and rice. And I'm like, how do I remove the guilt and the shame? Because those are the things that are holding us back to living a happy and healthy fitness journey, a balanced fitness journey where you don't feel too restricted, but you're also working towards your goals and being healthy and being mindful and being intentional. And so, boom. Fitness coaching was born July 2023. Now we're a whole year later. After I got my personal training certification, I started my online coaching business. I was still doing my therapy, I was still doing personal training, and I had already started my online coaching business. So now I was doing 3 things, trying to learn how to start a business. And let me tell you, I'm going to always advocate for you to chase after your dreams and go after your passions. And if you want to start a business, man, go for it. It's a beautiful journey. But let me just tell you that when you start a business, that is when you truly learn the most about yourself, about your faith, of how you feel about yourself, and your traumas that you don't even think have anything to do with your business. Oh, baby, they're going to show up. They're going to show up, because nothing highlights the things you're not most proud of, or the things that you're trying to bury within yourself, like a fitness journey. Well, both a fitness journey too, but a fitness journey, but really an entrepreneurship journey. Because in entrepreneurship, you have to put yourself through the ringer, and things about yourself start to come up. The way that you behave, the way that you think, the way that you feel about yourself starts to show up in your product. If you don't really feel confident in yourself that this business is going to succeed, that shows in your product and the stuff that you're selling and the way that you're connecting with people. So man, there were so many things that I had buried that had to come out. But this is how Discover Your Strengths was officially born. Discover Your Strengths is my fitness coaching business, my baby. As of right now, it is August 2025. So we are 2 years and about a month in of my business, which is insane to think about. Man, it's been a journey. Like, I think this is when I started to actually understand the importance of mindset, nutrition, sleep, and movement. and understanding that you cannot have a sustainable fitness journey if those 4 foundations are not taken care of. And I think this is what was always missing in the health and fitness industry, is a more holistic approach towards fitness. Understanding that sleep is important, stress management is important, the way that you think and the way that you feel, your mindset is important, the way you perceive the world, the way you perceive health and fitness journeys in general. If you think a health and fitness journey needs to be restrictive and you genuinely believe that, it's always going to be unenjoyable. And so understanding, like, if we want to have a sustainable journey, we have to change the way we even think about fitness. What do we think fitness is good for? And changing our perspective about that. And so this is where my coaching program was born. And at this point, I knew I wanted to do this full time. I just wasn't ready to do it full time. One, I was still in the process of just learning how to run a business. Listen, when you learn to run a business, you are HR, you are sales, you are marketing, you are editing, you are a videographer. Especially in today's day and age, you cannot have a business without content. Whether your business is in person or online, content is your number one marketing strategy. And if you're not willing to do content, your business will take a hit. It's not to say that you have to be posting every single day, multiple times a day, but if you want to get better traction and more views, content is just the form these days, and you just got to get with it, Pookie. Okay, you just got to get with it. If you are a business owner, you just have to get with it. And so learning how to write content and make content that's actually engaging and that it resonates, and trying to show my brand specifically, how I personally feel about fitness, because I want to shift the fitness industry. I want to be a leading boss ass BI, I'm not going to say the rest, in the industry. That comes from sharing my thoughts, my opinions, and the way that I feel, and removing the toxicness that's in the fitness journey. Like, no, you don't have to get rid of carbs, you don't have to do all these things. I was working towards doing that full time. At this point, I had just started a new job. I started a new job in July of 2023, so the same time I launched my business. Yeah, July 2023. I lasted that job all about 6-7 months before I was like, I cannot do this anymore. And it's not because I hated social worker therapy. I actually despised that job. And I'm not gonna say what job it is, because I'm not in the business to talk crap about organizations, but it was absolutely the worst mental health job I've ever had. I was actually getting anxiety attacks, like real life anxiety attacks, throughout this position. And I'm trying to build a business, and I felt like that burnout and that being tired from work and all that stress from work was pouring into my business, so I couldn't really grow at the capacity that I wanted to. I also started working with a business mentor at this time, and I did learn a lot from this person, but I also feel like for what they charged me based on what I was getting, or at least what I was promised, it wasn't in alignment. And so I ended up paying a lot for this business mentor, and they promised me 3 times worth of my investment, and I didn't even make 1 time of the investment while I was working with the coach. And so I had a lot of financial stress at this point, but I was just like, I couldn't leave my job because I was living by myself. I had a dog that was anxious. I had a lot of money that I'm spending on him, on his daycare. Like, there's a lot of things going on, so I couldn't just quit my job. But it was causing me way too much stress. Like, I would be talking to my clients about anxiety and anxiety attacks, and then in between sessions, or sometimes even during a session, I would get an anxiety attack, and I would have to like find a way to get myself out of the call without making it about me, because I was still a therapist and I still had to make sure that this space was for them. If I was at home, I was like making pretend that somebody was knocking something on my door and dropping something off, and I had to quickly run and get it and come back, just so I could take a moment away from my screen and calm myself down and then get back into being a session. So while trying to hold space for other people, I was catching anxiety attacks, and I'm like, this is actually very detrimental to my own personal mental health, but then also like, what good am I being to other people if I'm genuinely not taking care of myself? So I hated the job. I was starting to resent therapy, and I was starting to resent like my clients. So I decided to quit in March 2024. Very prematurely, you guys. At this point, I'm gonna rewind a little bit, because at this point I had already decided that I'm moving to North Carolina, so this was part of the process. Well, let's take a second. So I am a chatterbox, and originally my goal was to have all in my first video my fitness story, plus my move to North Carolina, going into full-time entrepreneurship, and what that's done for me, my personal growth, my spiritual growth, my health and fitness in general, because my health and fitness took a little bit of a hit while I was trying to build a business. It was extremely stressful doing that. It still is extremely stressful, but I've learned to like find my balance. And so I thought I wanted that all to be in one video, but because I'm a chatterbox and I be wanting to share all the details, I'm going to split it into two so that my first video isn't so long that I lose y'all and just enough that I keep y'all engaged with my journey. And so I'm gonna cut it off here, but stay tuned for part 2, where I will be talking more about North Carolina, how that even came about, my process of moving, what it did to me once I actually moved to North Carolina, like how my life had drastically changed at that point, from literally just quitting my job a month prior, uprooting my life and moving with just like 5-6 weeks of notice of actually moving, and how my business has changed from when I first started it, from when I was trying to build it as like a part-time thing outside of my therapy business, to moving to North Carolina and the major struggles that I went through it. If you are on an entrepreneurship journey, you definitely do not want to miss this video, because I'm going to talk about the real hardships that come from entrepreneurship that are not talked about. I'm always going to say entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and it's not to say that that's a bad thing. I actually despise when people make fun of like regular jobs or any jobs, because I think as long as you're making an honest living, it's worth being respected for. And so I actually despise when people make fun of people who are working, or everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. No. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and that's actually okay. But this is for the people that have that feeling like I know I'm meant for something bigger than working for someone else. And that is a feeling that I felt for myself for years, even way before I got into fitness coaching. So if you know that you're on an entrepreneurship journey or you're looking to start one, this is definitely the episode you don't want to miss. I'm also going to take y'all through my panel discussion, because the event is next week. So I'm so excited to share that with you guys. But with all in all, I'm so excited to have y'all part of my YouTube series, my YouTube journey. Make sure to subscribe, share. Let me know what you learned about me. I hope that y'all have learned some things about me. And if not, I'm excited to take y'all through the journey with me so that I can continue to learn about me, my business, what I do, how I feel about fitness, so that you guys can learn more about fitness and just take you through my world. I'm so excited. Leave this how I leave everything else. It is a great day to have a great day. No matter what time you're hearing this, no matter what time you're listening to this, whether you had a bad start to your day, whether it's been a bad day overall and you're about to go to sleep, it is still your opportunity to change your day around. So it is a great day to have a great day. You make that choice. This is why I say that every single day. You make the choice to have a great day. With that, like I said, it is a great day to have a great day, and I'll catch up for part 2.